Mr. Omari also had just gotten information and he was in court. So we rushed here. So you can see basically when I was saying that they are legal bandits, I only meant that they are ambushing us. And when you're ambushing people, then that makes you what I said. It is not fair. Not only for the persons who we have come to represent, who we were very quick to react, but also for the ones who did not have their lawyers in court. Yet the state knows. And they know that in the High Court, nothing goes on if you do not have a lawyer. If they did not inform us, and this was intentional, then what did they intend to have as the last result? We know why they're in a hurry.
Trial by ambush. Don't tell the advocates. Drag the people to court. They take plea. Then detain them. Simply, it shows the incompetence of the state. Because the state, if they knew the law, they know that no plea will be taken for murder. I've come here and they have been chased. And the judge has said the two didn't have advocates, shall be given advocates. We know the reasons as to why a decision to charge was done today. Two things. There is a matter we filed before the Constitutional Court challenging the decision to investigate this matter without this matter going to an inquest.
This is definitely going to be a very interesting case as we listen to, the prosecution and the defense giving their thinking about the same, and the civil society still insisting that the Deputy Inspector General of Police has to be included in the list. And I bet this is going to be one of the topics and main standing points tomorrow as the Gen Zs mark the first anniversary since the June 2024 demonstrations that rocked the country. Now, the Independent Policing Oversight Authority Chairperson Isaac Hassan has apologized for appearing alongside the Inspector General of Police and his team during a press briefing on the death of Alberto Juang. Speaking at an international justice mission event, Hassan said his presence was purely coincidental as he happened to be visiting the station at the time, calling it a big mistake. Former Chief Justice David Maraga, who spoke at the same event, urged government to fast-track police reforms, warning that police brutality has gone out of control.
Case of currently from Ojwang. Ojwang was killed on 8th of June, and today is 23rd. Already we have got more than 20 reported deaths in police since then. So again, this raises an issue about the police accountability. But the question was, why was I there at the press conference? I went there to go and see the cell. When I got the signal from the IG and I read the signal, it said he died because he repeatedly hit his head against the wall. That was the first signal. And I called him up and I told him, surely you want to insult our intelligence now. This is not going to fly. I'm going there to go to that cell. And it will be, oh, I'm also coming. I'll be there tomorrow. So it was not that I planned to be in that press conference. My team was already there from midnight. Our investigators were already there. They have secured the scene of crime. There are people who are there from our investigation team. I went there to go and actually look at the cell. And I was so disturbed. And I never planned to be with them in the press conference. The IGs already asked me to come and join him. I think it was a big mistake, which should not have happened. And I explained that to Parliament that we apologize for that. We should not have actually appeared with them.
Delayed justice is not merely a procedural failure. It is a betrayal of trust. For survivors and families, every day without resolution deepens their trauma. Consider the mother who waits years for answers about her disappeared son, or a widow who faces intimidation while seeking justice for her husband's unlawful killing.
Meanwhile, Central Region Police Commander Samuel Ndanyi has assured the family of Boniface Karaoke, the masked vendor shot by police in Nairobi, that justice will be served. Delivering a message from the Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, Ndanyi led police officers in visiting the family in Kiraru village, Kangema. He said one rogue police officer should not taint the image of the entire police service. Meanwhile, Karaoke's family is appealing to the government for support to offset a rising hospital bill. Karaoke is currently under intensive care unit at the Kenyatta National Hospital.
Following swift investigation, 2 police officers have already been arraigned in court. I want to assure you that we are working closely with the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, that is IPOA, and other relevant agencies to ensure that justice is served openly, fairly, and without compromise. On behalf of Inspector General of the National Police Service, Mr. Douglas Kanja, we are here not just as police officers, but as a fellow Kenyan, to offer you our sympathy, to stand with you, and to say that we feel your pain and we share in your difficulties at such a time. We are part of the communities we serve, and when one of us is hurt, all of us are affected.
Wako na bill kwa sasa imefika 1 million. Huyo kijana ndio alikuwa tegemeo wa hii familia, na hiyo bill, hii familia na wenyeji wa hii eneo mahali huyo kijana anatoka, hiyo bill hatuwezi kulipa kwa sababu hatuna uwezo. So serikali tunamuomba, tunajua bill itaendelea kuongezeka venye anaendelea kupata
At least that was a good gesture, visiting the family of a victim. And this coming from the police that appears not to have a soul is a very good gesture. I mean, one of their own injured this individual, and the rest visited the family to tell them pole, and even came with goodness and a promise that justice will be served. Let's hope it is actually served. And actually, this family should not be begging to have the bills taken care of. I mean, it's the police that caused this, so the government should be able to, take care of that. Now, the Independent Medical Legal Unit has called for urgent and swift independent investigations into all deaths, abduction, and allegation of torture of civilians by police officers. While launching its investigative report on extensive human rights violation during the Gen Z-led protests of 2024, IMLU said while a few junior officers have been prosecuted in high-profile cases, such as the murder of lawyer Willie Kimani, most violations go unpunished.
Police violence has become embedded in the architecture of public order management. IMLU's data, which draws on medical and legal assessments, eyewitness accounts, autopsy findings, and expert testimony, reveals a chilling consistency in police behavior during political events across multiple administrations. Whether in the aftermath of the elections of 2017, the cost of living protests of 2023, or the Gen Z mobilizations of 2024.
Article 1 of the Constitution of Kenya states that all sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya and shall be exercised only in accordance with this Constitution. This report therefore points to the urgent need to safeguard the provisions set out in the Constitution of Kenya.
It's pretty interesting. The report just comes a few days before the Gen Z demos, which are scheduled for tomorrow. The report by IMLU comes out. This as lobby groups call for compensation for victims and families who've lost their loved ones during last year's finance bill protests ahead of the commemoration slated for Wednesday, that is tomorrow. This demand justice for those arrested, injured, or killed. Security agencies have been notified and peace will be maintained. Addressing the media at the offices of Muslims for Human Rights, Muhuri, Matthias Shipeta of Haki Africa confirmed that the necessary permissions had been granted by authorities following proper notifications. The human rights activists met with County Police Commander, who assured them of security during the procession that will commence at Pembe Zandovu along Moi Avenue.
Tumeweza kukutana na County Commander, OCPD na wale polisi wote ambao wanahusika katika kuhakikisha kwamba kutakuwa na usalama siku ya June 25th. We have given them the notification and they have confirmed kwamba wamereceive na wametuashua ya kwamba watakuwa na sisi, lakini kuhakikisha tu ya kwamba kutakuwa na security. We have received reports kwamba pia kuna watu wamejipanga kwamba watakuja kuinfiltrate commemoration hii ama demonstration hii. Kwa hivyo sisi tuko macho. We are calling upon all those who are coming waje peacefully.
Lakini Wednesday tarehe 25 watu wajitokeze kimasumasu, watu wajitokeze kwa wingi bila fujo, bila vurugu. Maana itakuwa ni maandamano ya amani kwa kumbuka wale waliopoteza maisha yao.
So tunahimiza Wakenya wote waweze kujitokeza katika maandamano siku ya Jumatano na wasiogope, kwa sababu kama mashirika na kama Wakenya tumeweza kuwakumbusha vyombo vya usalama kuwa hii ni haki ya kikatiba, na wameweza kusema kuwa wamepokea ile barua ya notification, and so we are ready for 25th.
On 25th, we are also calling not only for a commemoration, but for the wheels of justice to speed up, for the families that lost their victims to be able to get justice. We've not had any court prosecution so far from the victims of June 25th in Mombasa, and we call for that to happen so that we can see finally the faces that shot those bullets illegally to unarmed peaceful citizens. Thank you.
Mimi naomboleza kuhusu kijana wangu walikufa mwaka jana tarehe 25, mpaka ikifika hii sasa tunaenda kumaliza mwaka. Fika tarehe 25, naomba wananchi ambao wale watoto wao walikufa na wenye waliumia waje kwa wingi, tufanye maombi kwa pamoja sababu tumemaliza mwaka. Hayo yangu ni hayo tu. Jina langu ni Jason, mimi majina yangu ni Jason Ogutu Ombati. Mimi ndio babake Josh Ombati. Bao kijana wangu alikufa mwaka jana. Sasa naomba hii tarehe 25 pia tumemaliza mwaka. Watu waje kwa wingi tufanye maombolezi na maombi.
Now, a section of Kenya Kwanza leaders from Embu County has appealed to the youth to stop the planned demonstration, saying protests are not the solution to the country's challenges. Led by Public Service CS Geoffrey Roko, the leaders emphasized the need for unity and dialogue instead of confrontation in sorting out their differences. Roko stated that past protests have ended up being chaotic, leading to destruction of property, infrastructure, and public amenities. His sentiments were echoed by Senator Alexander Mundigi, who said previous protests have left Kenyans counting losses after their businesses and properties were looted and vandalized.
Protests in the city and other corners of the country are not warranted. Tuko na serikali moja, tuko na Kenya moja. Hakuna Kenya opposition na hakuna Kenya serikali. Kenya ni moja. There are problems in our country. These problems can only be solved if we sit down together and talk together. Destruction of property, destruction of infrastructure, destruction of other things cannot help us solve the problems which are affecting our sons and daughters who are young. Kwa hivyo jameni, nawaomba, let's solve our issues which are affecting the young people, na sisi tunawapenda sana tukiwa pamoja.
Ningeomba wakati huu wa economy recovery tuachane mambo ya maandamano, kwa sababu hakuna mtu ana TV anaona vile makombora inarushwa kule nje ya ng'ambo huko Iraq na Iran na pia na Israel wanapigana sana. Kwa hiyo ni njia ya kutuonyesha Kama nchi ya Kenya itaendelea hivyo, hakuna pahali tutaenda. Maandamano haitatusaidia, itapomoa nchi yetu, itapomoa kaunti zetu. Barabara ile tumejenga na pesa ya ukopa na pesa ya taksi yetu, utakuta watu wengi wataweka moto na itatusaidia. Mduka nyingi sinaporwa, mambo mengi itaharibika.
Haya, let's check out maneno ya Rigiji with the DCP party leader now asking the Ma community to work together and form the next government. The former DP is wooing the communities of Kajiado, Narok and Samburu grassroots leaders to join him in the quest of liberating the country from what he terms corrupt individuals, informing them that the community is key in the cause. The DCP leader was speaking in his Wamunyoro residence, where he brought together more than 500 ground mobilizers from the 3 counties for consultations.
Hii maneno ya 50+1. Kama huna mlima, hawezi ingia. Si ndio? Na ndio ilisaidia William Ruto. Alikataliwa Pwani. Akakataliwa Northeastern. Alikataliwa Nyanza. Alikataliwa Western. Alikataliwa Nairobi. The only place na Lower Eastern pahali tu alishinda ni kwake na mlima. Na hiyo mbili ni rais. Sasa what has happened is the opposite. Mlima imemuondokea forever. Western imemuondokea. Kisii wameondoka. Wama wameondoka. Western wameondoka. Pwani wameondoka. Ni one term, si one term.
Sema mambo ya water and sewerage ya Ndakaini itakuja Kajiado North. Your Excellency, mimi nikaona nimechoka na hii uongo. So hata hii vote ilipokuja tayari nilikuwa nimechoka. Your Excellency, nikasema no to protest over lies.
Watoto wamesema wanakuja Nairobi na wanakuja memorial service na wataandamana kwa sababu kuna watoto waliuliwa tarehe 25 last year. Mr. President, number 1, usiue watoto. Wachana na wao wafanye maandamano kisheria. Na nakuomba sana, Mr. President, usitumie pia polisi kuvuruga watoto. Na wewe na Sakaja na wengine msilete goons Nairobi. Wachaneni na Nairobi.
Now, tens of families affected by the Mai Mahiu flood tragedy have now petitioned Parliament to intervene and expedite their resettlement 1 year after the devastating incident. The tragic event, which unfolded in the dead of the night, saw raging floodwaters tear through several villages, leaving more than 60 people dead and hundreds injured. President William Ruto, who led government officials in the immediate response to the disaster, had assured the affected residents of a comprehensive resettlement plan and support to build their lives. However, a year later, the promise remains unfulfilled and the victims continue to endure despair, worsening economic hardship and mental health challenges. Mary Wanjiko, one of the survivors, urged Parliament to step in and ensure the resettlement process is fast-tracked, noting that many families struggle to pay rent due to lack of financial support.
Rahia kwa sababu ya tumepewa chakula, wale wetu wametusaidia. Tuko na changamoto mingi kwa sababu tangu tubebwe na maji. Wengine wetu walipass na wengine walibaki na injuries, kama msichana wangu alikujika mguu akawekwa chuma. Mwingine alipass na mimi niliachwa tu na injuries ya mguu. Sasa imekuwa ngumu juu hatuna pahali pa kukaa.
Taabika sana kutoka hiyo siku. Mashida imetufuata kila mahali. Hakuna mahali ya kuseto, mbesidieda maji. Saa hii ni kukomboa, pesa ya kulipa nyumba ni shinda. Saa kile Mungu tu anatusaidia.
Biggest problems that they still face is just coping with tragedy mentally. Many of them have a very difficult time with just thinking about everything they lost, and also feeling like they have been abandoned. And we want to do something, however small it is, to make sure that they understand that there are people who still care about them. We are still very, very hopeful that the promises that were made by the government will be kept. And one of the things that we really want to emphasize today and make sure everybody understands this, many of the people who are behind me right now lost everything.
All right then, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki has dismissed any fears of backtracking on the country's devolution journey, declaring that the system is now too deeply entrenched to be reversed. Speaking during the 27th ordinary session of the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council held at his official residence in Karen, Kindiki said devolution had become a permanent feature of governance architecture and emphasized that both the national and county government must work in harmony to improve service delivery. The Deputy President, who chairs the IBEC, pointed out that the country had made significant progress in ensuring timely disbursement of funds to the counties.
Because we are already implementing our constitutional responsibilities in a very good way. I was just chatting with some of the colleagues here earlier on from both national government, county government, and we are saying some of the things here we are calling disputes and conflicts are very minor issues, inconsequential. And they are expected. Differences of opinion and interpretation of mandate, these are normal things. And I gave the example, I know countries which have had devolved systems for close to 200 years. Australia, for example, 185 years of devolution. Today, there is always tension, push and pull between the two houses of parliament when it comes to how much money remains in the center and how much goes to the counties. 185 years later. So we are doing so well. Nobody has the capacity to roll back devolution. It is so strong. No one, no administration has the capacity to roll back even an inch of devolution. We are already undertaking some concurrent functions seamlessly. In health, we have the community health volunteers or promoters program.
Your Excellency, you know, this share thing would not have taken off the ground had it not been for the governors. Because when everybody was fighting it, we stuck out our neck, right? And we got called all manner of names, and now everybody is on board singing the same song. So where we know it's beneficial for our masses, for our constituents.
Right, interesting things happening around the world. So these are some of the things we are supposed to be looking after. Devolution should not be messed up with. It should retain, actually we should strengthen devolution in this country so that we demystify the presidency. The presidency should not have all the powers, the executive powers it has today. We should make it like, kind of like Israel. Did you know that there's a president in Israel? Nobody knew, very few people know about him. They know more of the prime minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. But there is a president in Israel. Now, the deputy president, Professor Kithure Kindiki, at the same time slammed his predecessor, Rigathi Gachagua, over his verbal mannerism, saying he's not intimidated by them. While speaking to members of the county assembly from the larger eastern region, including Kitui, Machakos, Makueni counties, Kindiki called on the region to solidify their support behind the Kenya Kwanza government.
Hao wakora wanapurura hapa na mambo ya bure, they have nowhere to hide. They have nowhere to hide. Kwa sababu wanakuja pale kupiga kelele. Sijui one time,
sijui tamgani, sijui nani. Leadership is not about bullying people. It's about persuading them to work with you. Yeah. And you know, those are things, and cotton, and those are things nobody has a quarrel with. Unataka, yani nani anapinga Wakamba wasisaidiwe na serikali nzuri ipate bei mzuri? Ukijaribu hiyo utazama. Ukijaribu kupinga hiyo utazama. For the sake of the country, because you cannot keep talking about an election that happened 3 years ago. Yeah? Or imprison people. Tell them because of what happened 3 years ago, we have to wait until the next election. No. Allah. See, people are taxpayers. See, there is a government that is collecting taxes from everybody, including the people you lead. It is, and that's the philosophy you see in the broad-based administration.
You know, I'm just laughing because I just saw a video of Kebaso Morara, who is now saying that he supports President William Ruto's government. And I'm thinking, okay, what changed? Okay, he has a right to make a decision and support whoever he wants to support. What changed? I don't know. Anyway, the government is now calling on widows to take advantage of the many programs run through the funds established under the Law for Economic Empowerment, as it says it will not set up fresh fund specifically for them. Speaking in Nyamira, where the National Celebration for International Widow Day was held, the First Lady Rachel Ruto and the President's advisor on women's rights, Harriet Chigai, said there were funds targeting women from the ward level all the way to the national level. And she requested women to attach themselves to self-help groups that would enable them access funds and empower them economically.
Ningependa kusihi kila mmoja wetu. I want to encourage each one of us seated here today and those that are listening that we can do something for our widows. We can support what the government is doing for our widows and our orphans. You can give something. You can give that extra thing that you have in your farm, in your house. You can visit that widow because we know that there's a lot of stigma, you know, with the widows. So I just want to encourage all of us. Ningependa kusi sisi wote tuweze kufanya jambo. Serikali inawajali. Serikali yetu ambaye inaongozwa na rais wetu Daktari William Samoei Ruto inawajali. Jambo muhimu kina mama, kama vile viongozi wametuambia hapa, ukisikia kwamba kuna jambo ambalo serikali inafanya, tafadhali uweze kujihusisha na hilo jambo. Wakati nilikuwa naenda katika nchi yetu ya Kenya kuongea na kina mama, nilikuwa nawaambia kwamba hata ukisikia kwamba kuna barasa ya chief ambaye imeitwa, usiseme kwamba mimi ni mama ama mimi tu ni mama mjane siwezi enda. Tafadhali uweze kufika hapa, uweze kujua kwamba chief leo anatuambia nini.
When I look at this room, you're more than 7,000. If we are to contribute 100 shillings today, that is 700 million. If we are to contribute 1,000 shillings today, all of us, that is 7.9 billion in a day. There is your power.
Right then, let's take a look at the newspaper. We start off with the Daily Nation, whose headlines say the warmongers, the guys who are speaking war already. And it has pictures of 3 people. It has David Ndii. I never expected David Ndii to be speaking like this. He's the chairperson of President Ruto's Council of Economic Advisors. And well, speaking to the Gen Zs, he says, wewe tokea, you just stand up and make sure you say your goodbyes before you leave home, just in case you catch a stray. You know, a stray means a stray bullet. And then you have William Kamket. This one I'm not surprised. He's an MP for Tiati. He says, I hear there are people planning to cause violence like the last time. They cried of the mayhem caused by the goons brought last week. Let them try next week, meaning tomorrow. And we will know where, and we will know they are Pokot youth. So he's saying he's going to bring Pokot youth to the streets of Nairobi. And then there's Sylvanus Osoro. He's the majority party whip. Last week you incited the youth, and we are aware there are plans to do the same. In the name of June 25th anniversary, we are telling you that this time it will not be business as usual. Reckless. This is what the newspaper says. It says some of President William Ruto's allies have sent a chilling warning to Gen Zs, civil society activists and opposition politicians planning to take part in the countrywide protest tomorrow to mark the first anniversary of the June 25th, 2024 historic invasion of Parliament, that they may not return to their homes. These regrettable statements, apart from stoking public anger, depict state officials who are insensitive to the plight of Kenyans who lost their lives and their loved ones in the deadly demos against punitive taxes and government excesses. The page 2 continues with the same. As page 3, youth layout anniversary plans. And then, who is this? A business looted by goons still grounded a year later. From June last year. They have the picture of a building that was set on fire, and where I remember there was a man who was physically challenged on a wheelchair, who was unable to move and lost his life as a result. And then the page 5, is it page 5? Yes. Eyewitness deaths, burial of protesters. This is Gen Z activist Zaha Indimuli, who says attending the burial of Bisti Kogi left her with lifelong scars. OCS and 5 others charged with Ojwang's murder. And then principals are now sounding a warning of a grade 10 transition preparedness. And then the back page, we have Faith Kipyegon competing in the 1500 meters race in Rome Diamond League. We have a picture of her and says, big leap of faith inside Kipyegon's monumental breaking 4 projects in Paris. Oh, this girl can run, man. This one can run. Mama Kai, this girl can run. But the beauty is this, she runs and makes money. There's nothing as beautiful as that. Revenues and critical projects stall as state grapples with severe cash flow headache. Ruto crisis inside debt burden. Farouk builds support for Ruto's 2027 re-election. This Farouk guy. And then brother skipper or killer, man acquitted in farm. Prosecution failed to prove the charge of murder beyond reasonable doubt. Drowning in debt, Treasury robbing Peter to pay Paul. That's crazy. Scramble for Kalonzo in 2027 race. Tax oil, gas farms to pay for climate damages. Where? Then you have my gov. Remember the star is today free ukipata malipopoto. Peter tu nayo. And then the back page, they have the same picture of Faith Kipyegon. And the main heading there is, we believe in faith. Me too. Me too. And then the Standard newspaper, this is how it looks like. Interesting headline. It says, exposed. And then it has the picture of the goons that are allegedly were hired by Sakaja. It says, in a chilling expose, the Standard uncovers messaging in WhatsApp groups run by government, bloggers, and officials, UDA secretariat, staff, and parastatal chiefs, where they have been planning how to infiltrate peaceful protests in the city, generating propaganda aimed at media houses and prominent individuals seen critical of the government. The tactics include unleashing goons to cause mayhem with clear instructions to steal smartphones from protesters to stop them from capturing images of the protests and police brutality. And then it has now the pictures of the guys or the people. At the top there you have a lady. Her name is Antomila Kakuko. She's a UDA propagandist. And in one of the things she's written, it says, marehemu watarajiwa wa Wednesday. Is Wednesday na Occupy State House and other protected areas. Laleni salama. She's calling them watarajia, marehemu watarajia. Hey. Watarajiwa. Hey. Then you have a goon called Gaucho. He's a political mobilizer mostly for ODM. And he says Gen Z's protesters and their sponsors have always used social media to propagate, incite, and share the information to suit their narratives. They've been using their phones as a weapon against police by recording and exposing them as they work hard to protect peaceful Kenyans going on with their business. Well, he says, today we came to an end. Oh, today that came to an end. They will not believe what befell them. Wazalendo walianguka now. So you have that. You have a guy called Don Peter Kamau. You have William Kamket. And then you have a lady called Elizabeth Waithira. And then it's Liz Wasakaja. Then shift deductions from gross salary violates tax law. High Court now rules. Hey. And then there's a weird story. This is the most disturbing story of an uncle who murdered the niece. It's just crazy, you know. He's just a demon in flesh. Eh? And now there's a CCTV footage which revealed the last moments of that girl. A surveillance camera near the PCA Shalom church in Bahati Nakuru County played a crucial role in the investigations because it showed what happened to the little girl. 3-year-old Margaret Wanjiru, who was killed near PCA Shalom Church in Bahati, Nakuru. This guy, I don't know. Then my friend Agnes Kagore has lost a court battle for her property worth 600 million in Karen. Na weka stress sijui ka so mbili, so tatu, so tano. Kana kugonga mpaka umethreaten unaenda kujiua. Huyu ni 600 million. 600 million. Usistress hivyo. Usistress hivyo mpaka unatisha watu tadedi. Revealed inside plot by state operatives to stop peaceful Gen Z anniversary protests. The Treasury's quiet shift from grand finance bill to piecemeal amendments. 1 year on since revolt, Gen Z still waits for reform. Let's pray for Wednesday of peace and justice, not bullets and tears. And then the back page, all play but no pay for KPL brigades. All right? So I'm still waiting for Muito Muridi to come into the studio with us. We're supposed to have conversations about some of the things on the, ahead of the Gen Z's protest tomorrow. Let's see whether he's going to come in ama amedecide kwanza kwenda kwa protest ndio kuja hapa kabla zijaanza. But I'll give him a call. We see where he's at. He wasn't feeling well on Monday, and so he should be okay now. So let's see. But one thing I can assure you, tomorrow is one of those days. Please make sure you take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Take care of the things of the people around you. If you can, please avoid town like the plague. Avoid the CBD like the plague, because the demonstrations are obviously going to take place within the CBD, I believe. If you see the plans that have been made by both the government side and the opposition side, opposition in the sense that we're talking about Gen Zs, I would keep away from the CBD. If I were you, if you operate a business within the central business district, I think one of the best things you can do is tell your staff, if they can work from home, let them work from home. Because I pray for peaceful protests, but that terminology, peaceful protest, has lost meanings in Kenya. Because whether they come peacefully or they don't, there's always, explosions with people fighting, tear gas and all kind of stuff. People fight. So I would advise you, please keep away from the central business district. Don't go to the CBD. If you sell things like wares like phones and that kind of stuff. I saw a shop just near Koja Mosque that was rummaged by these goons. So if you can, just funga biashara, where one day won't kill you. Let it just chill at home and protect your business all you can. All right? Let's go for a short break, and we bring in Morete Muito. All right? Okay.